Okay, everybody ready? Places, please. Lights. Camera. And action.
Good evening, everybody. I am Renée Yaworsky. Welcome to another live edition of Offstage. I am your host, but we have a jam-packed hour for everybody. I actually am going to be joined by two co-hosts. That's how awesome our guests are. I need help at the helm. So you're going to have two co-hosts, and then we will be bringing up two amazing guests, as you can read in the description here. So I'd like to get started really quickly so that we can make the most out of our hour. Here is EmemFarwell. She's one of my co-hosts today. Everybody knows her and loves her. She is the Wizard of Oz in so many ways. And Jaime Bennett, whom everybody knows. Of course, she hosts multiple shows on Cosmos Creative Television. So both of you ladies came in. We were so excited. We've been talking on again, off again all day today about this show. And I wanted both of you to just very, very quickly weigh in a little bit about why you're so excited about Annetta, who's our first guest.
You want to go first, Jamie? I can.
It's all yours. All yours.
Well, I'm super excited for a few reasons. One, she's very powerful in the film industry as a woman. She holds a lot of stature, and she is very adamant and active in supporting other women in the industry for equality and diversity, and just she's a champion for women, period. And also Michael J. Fox.
I know.
Seriously, my poor heart can't take it.
My heart can't take it either. We're all fluttering. All the stuff that she's worked on. I mean, when I read her bio and I saw her IMDb, I was just freaking out because I'm an Amy Poehler fan as well. I'm an Oprah fan as well. Yep. She's worked on some of the best programming in recent history. So I'm just through the roof about this. Jamie, do you want to weigh in?
I'm just going to pretty much repeat what Em said. Like, you know, it's amazing what she's done in her career, and it's an honor to get to talk to somebody who's, you know, not only done what she's done in her career, but, you know, a powerful lead. Like, she's like a powerful female. And you know, not to plug my show, but The Warrior Within's all about that. So, you know, I would like to talk to another female in the industry.
Absolutely. Well, we were talking backstage and I was like, oh man, I wish this stuff would be live. So let's just bring her on so we can continue our conversation. This is Annetta Marion. Thank you for being here, Annetta.
Oh my goodness, Renee, Em, and Jamie, that was the most amazing introduction. So I'm going to work really hard to live up to it. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm completely stoked to be here and to talk to you guys and spend some time together and get to know each other. So yeah, thrilled to be here.
We are so honored. And I said to you backstage, I said, can we start off with Michael J. Fox with Still? Because you just got back from South by Southwest talking about this. And what, you know, in the trailer for this, if anybody can Google that, you'll see Michael J. Fox saying, I was more popular than bubblegum. And that sums up. And to me, he's still more popular than bubblegum. So talk about Michael J. Fox, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Happy to. So the Still, a Michael J. Fox movie, is a hybrid doc scripted feature film that premiered at Sundance. We just we're at South by Southwest, where we won an award, a Hope Award, which was amazing. The trailer just dropped, which is what Renee was talking about. So hopefully everyone has a chance to see that because it's amazing. Hats off to Apple. They did a great job on the trailer. And The movie will be premiering in select theaters and on Apple Plus May 12th. So in
So
like a
cool.
month. Is it the 12th?
So exciting.
Something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like
So
almost,
Today's
it's
the
almost
13th.
exactly a
Today's the
month.
12th. Yeah, today's
Yeah.
the 12th.
It's exactly
Excellent.
a month.
yeah,
And
so
I was,
it's exactly
yeah, and
a
I was
month.
telling Annetta backstage, I was like, I was excited that it's only a month that I had to wait, but I was kind of hoping I could like watch it tonight. So I was like, and she said, well, I've been waiting 2 years
I
for
know.
this. So, um,
So there's that. Yeah, so I
Right.
started working on the movie in April, like 2 years ago, and honestly, one of the best things about the project is just really getting to know Michael and Michael's team and Michael's family. I mean, he really is. I mean, you guys are fans. Who do you want him to be? Do you want him to be in real life kind, generous, funny, snarky, all the things?
yes,
He
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
he lives up to
Amazing.
the thing.
That was
And
one of my questions was if he lived up to what you were expecting, because you had said that when you were in one of the interviews I read, you were talking about how he was like such a big link in your childhood. And I feel the same way. I think anybody, that grew up with him feels that way. He was just such a he was just amazing, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't
And,
think of anything bad to say about the guy.
and so, I mean, so talented, and the double
Funny.
whammy of, family ties and Back to the Future. I mean, it's just was incredible. So anyway, it was just really great to, be able to spend like 2 years, with him and his team and his family. We didn't shoot every day, clearly, but we were like, like this every day, getting the movie made. So yeah, it was just one of the biggest pleasures of my life was to have this experience, and I can't wait for everyone to see the movie.
yes,
And then we can talk
I'm
about
excited.
it.
I'm so excited because I read Lucky Man back when it came out, which is his memoir, and he talks about back then the pinky shaking that morning that he woke up, and then in the trailer I saw him mention that pinky shaking as well. And I just felt like for him to entitle his book Lucky Man really is what he stands for us as our whole generation, which is
Amazing.
about being so positive. And like you said, he totally lives up to that. So that makes me so happy because I'm such a fan, and now I get to feel even prouder about being a fan, knowing that he really is like that through and through.
Having met him after, growing up with him and then seeing everything he's gone through, do you think he knows how much people really love him? Like, I mean, I feel like I know him. I don't know him, but I feel like I know him. And you saying that he's exactly how we would envision him to be it makes that even a stronger feeling. Like, it's amazing.
Well, I have to say, having been there in Sundance with him and hearing and feeling the crowd and all of that, and then again at South by Southwest, and of course on the press lines and all that kind of stuff, he has to know how much he's loved because it's undeniable. I mean,
Amazing.
so I think, I never had that conversation with him, but I feel very confident that he knows, because if you're just awake and alive, it's clear from my point of view. So I think he knows, and I think
awesome.
I think he
Well,
also worked
bigger than
hard for
bubblegum.
it. Bigger than bubblegum.
Yeah. So how were you connected to that project? Can you take us a little bit through that process?
Sure, absolutely. So I had not worked with Concordia Studio before or Davis Guggenheim, but I had worked with my dear friend and colleague from a million years ago, named Jonathan Silverberg. We never actually worked together on the same projects, but we worked adjacent to each other for years at a company called Radical Media. So we've known each other for a long, long time. So the beginning of the pandemic, Jonathan and I had gotten reacquainted, as people did at the beginning of the pandemic. And he is the one who called me in to talk about what Concordia had happening, and that I should talk to his counterpart SVP of nonfiction at Concordia. Her name's Nicole Stott, who's an amazing person as well. So I talked to her. We talked about a couple of projects, and I mean, they had me at big, hybrid, scripted, doc, big music, big Michael J. Fox movie, not a sad movie, a celebration. I mean, I was just like, yes. And so and then Davis and I had to Zoom. Davis and I Zoomed a lot, and had, all those conversations. And then we held hands and jumped off the bridge together. So, so that was just literally like 2 years ago.
So I love how you call it a celebration of his life. And I really like how, I don't know if it was him or you or somebody that when I was watching said that the focus wasn't on his illness, right? The focus was on him and who he was and celebrating that, like past, present, and future even. And I'm just curious, how did that angle come about? Because usually a story with somebody who has a major illness, you kind of leave with that heavy sadness kind of feeling afterwards, because they do focus on the illness a lot, right? And the person's disabilities instead of what they're still doing and the joy. And I feel like just watching that trailer, I felt like this is going to be amazing. Such a different angle.
Yeah, it's not a sick movie or a sad movie in any way, shape, or form. It really is a big Hollywood ride celebration, and that creative path was established when I joined the team. So that really goes to Davis Guggenheim's vision, not wanting to make a sad movie because there's so much there in his life. It's easy to make a celebration, and of course, we're going to talk about, his, what happened to him health-wise, but that is not who he is. That is, one facet of many, many, many things. And so, it's a facet in the show and the movie, and that's it.
Yeah. And I remember, Marlon Brando always said, like, in acting or in Hollywood, the only way you can fail is to be boring. And I think the trailer did a good job of this, but also just Michael J. Fox, if you think about it, he is constantly on the move. He is constantly entertaining. Mm-hmm. He is constantly vibrant and dynamic. And it's just that fast-paced sort of life that he always enjoyed. And he's still working, at that pace that most people never will, regardless of their age or regardless of any sort of medical or non-medical issue. And
he's still as funny as he. I mean, he's
oh my
funny.
Gosh,
he's
a
funny guy.
Never forget that.
Yeah,
I saw him on Curb Your Enthusiasm too, where he played himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was one of the funniest. I mean, it was so hilarious. If anyone hasn't seen Michael J. Fox on Curb Your Enthusiasm, please do it. It is laugh out loud funny, and so much of that is improv, and so much of that is just Michael being Michael.
Yeah, I really like his character on The Good Wife as well.
Oh, yes.
He
plays, gosh.
Kind of a lawyer who's using all his tools available to him, and it's a little underhanded and it's a little bad, and I love it. I think it's great
in that one.
Yeah.
Talking about where Renee just said, he's always moving. When I read the title, Still, it was such a heavy, powerful, impactful, just one word, right? Like thinking about him and that word. How did that title come about? Do you know the story behind that? Because it's amazing.
Absolutely, I do. I'm going to come back and tell you about that because I don't want to ruin anything. It's in the movie. You're going to watch the movie. Okay. It's going to be clear. So I don't want to do any spoilers.
Okay.
Because,
well, now we got her coming back, Renee. Mark that down.
Yes, all right. Yes. Immediately afterwards, we will have the date on the calendar. I love that.
Verbal contract.
Yeah. But it will not be a mystery. It's going to be clear, and there really is such a poetic beauty to it.
Yes.
Putting something so big and vibrant into one word, and it's the right word, and it's multifaceted and all that kind of stuff. So, so watch the movie. I'll talk about that later.
Okay, definitely. Jamie had some questions, I think, that are maybe non-Michael J. Fox.
Well, how can I follow up with that?
It's very hard.
I think that you may have answered a couple of these questions with answering with Michael J. Fox, but I would say what would you say has been the highlight of your career? And I'm imagining at this point that you've already answered that question.
Oh boy. I really have been blessed with so many things that were amazing in my life. I mean, clearly the Michael Fox movie and getting to know him so well, top of the list. But I'm so grateful that the pandemic had opened up a door for me to, kind of broaden and deepen my community at the DGA with now, with everything on Zoom or whatever. And that also has been a highlight for me, where people who were my idols and, I knew from afar are now my friends, like for real. And it's amazing. And that community is going to propel me to a career in directing episodic television, which is that's where I'm headed. And I'm headed there 100%. And I have an amazing, basically support team around me to that end because of community and at the DGA and more. So that's been amazing. Really so special and dear to my heart. And, I also, oh my goodness, I had 10 years of working and directing on Oprah's Masterclass, which I have no words.
Did someone say Oprah? Did someone say Oprah? Oh my God.
Renee's back.
Yeah.
We were, and Em has a question for you about that. I just want to say, I am obsessed with that. So when I saw that, and I was like, Michael J. Fox, Amy Poehler, Oprah's Masterclass, because Oprah's Masterclass for me was peak. It's peak Oprah. It's everything I love. She gets to do long form. She gets to really dive very deeply in it. Can you just say anything about working on that? Because to me, that is a masterclass in show running, directing, and everything. It is beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I mean, I loved making that show, and I loved it for so many reasons. I mean, the high stakes of the celebrities. We also were a hybrid scripted documentary show, which I love scripted. So that really scratched my itch, and also just to spend that amount of time with those amazing people. I mean, our finale, our finale episode, of 6 seasons was with Representative John Lewis. Yeah. We spent the day with him. We, after the interview that was at the Capitol, he took us to his office and showed us all his stuff and told us the stories behind every photograph and, artifact. And, who doesn't want to spend a whole day with John Lewis, especially?
I just want to spend one day in your shoes. That's
we want your life.
Give me one day.
That is amazing.
My questions in regards to Oprah's thing, because I had it written exactly like this. My selfish question. Did you meet Maya Angelou?
I did not, because that was season 1, and I was the line producer on season 1 before I started directing and show running. So I did not. So I didn't meet any of the masters from season 1, but yeah, all the rest of them.
Wow.
All the rest of them.
Yeah. And how did you make everything?
It's an amazing life.
Can you talk us a little bit through that creative vision of just how you put that show together, just from your experience? Because it's one of the more visually and soulfully capturing shows. I think that's what drew me in. It's something that you can just put on and you just feel totally brought in, as if you're sitting there and actually a part of that conversation. What were the tools that you used, the tools of your trade, to give that to people who are not, directors, showrunners, that kind of thing?
So, well, thank you so much for your kind words. My understanding is, this is the show that Oprah wanted to make. Oprah wanted the intimate feeling of, that's Jay-Z in your living room talking to you. That's Maya Angelou talking to you. That's, it's not an interviewer. There's no other, voices or, talking heads anyway. And I think the intimacy is so important because that's where beauty and truth usually is, right? When people are speaking their truths and speaking from the heart and not censoring themselves and that sort of thing. So connection is key to someone being as truthful as they can be, saying things that they might not say in another place. It's not as safe. We really, the show was created as, the opposite of gotcha television. Again, a celebration. My wheelhouse is just like inspiring and aspiring content. It's like what makes my heart go pitter patter. So the way that was the intention of the show. And some of the tools we use that everybody might not know about is we used a system called the Interrotron, which Errol Morris, I think, is the first person who popularized the use of it. And it's basically, so me as the director interviewer, I'm not there at camera. I'm like next to the camera, and I have a camera on me. And that camera on me is projecting my face on the camera on the, say, John Lewis. So the person who's the master, the person who's sitting in that seat, whether Vanessa Williams, whatever, she's talking directly to the A camera, but she's not talking to a camera. She's talking to like my face that's projected on the camera. So we try and make it so the eye line is like directly to you at home.
Right. That's how it feels. Okay. That's what I was asking. And you totally answered that, because you feel this intimate connection to this master that you've never met.
And I
one
mean,
other thing
Oprah Winfrey, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Oprah is, she has a way of making people feel comfortable. Like she's got very talented in that aspect. Like people just open up,
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was there for some of the episodes, but usually it was the directors who were the ones asking the questions, but we're coming in as a proxy for Oprah. So there's already a safety and a harmony, and they know what they're in for. They don't have to be careful. This is the safe spot. But the one thing that we did do that was really different, that I've never seen done before anywhere, and I did this around the country and had to talk different crews around the country into doing it the way we wanted. So not only did we have the Interrotron, and of course we had like, A camera, B camera, C camera, but we also bent over backwards to make sure that the master walking in to sit on the master class chair did not see any extraneous people. There was no looky-loos. There was no one like lined up, just, none of that. We actually draped duvetine black in between all the camera lenses. We hid like the tripod stand. So it was just kind of like this, black void, and just, me, if I was directing that day, me as the director on the A camera, and that was it, to kind of keep all the distraction to a minimum. And often we would also, like if they had a green room, I don't know, half a block away, or, not half a block, but like, outside the door, we would also duvetine the walk into the room with the chair. So they were just to make it as intimate as possible. Like it was just like, me as the director, or if I was directing, like the talent and the director talking, and it was a safe space and not, people listening in. Although of course there were people there. They were just hidden behind duvetine. So, and I, going around the country convincing crews to do that, we're just like, what? I'm like, yeah, trust me. I also want the apple box for her feet to be duvetine. Yes, this is what we want. And it does do something intangible, I think, for safety and intimacy, which is the DNA of that show.
Yeah. Sure. Well, and it goes to show too, I think that if somebody's not in the industry, they tend to think that magic elves stitch all this together, or that the magic of the content alone is enough. And the content, of course, on Masterclass is fantastic, but there's all of these tricks of the trade and these creative insights that you are architecting behind the scenes, and it makes a huge difference. It's not just like a live
Nothing
stream
is
where it's just
accidental.
raw. It's not accidental. You are intentional every single step of the way, and it makes a big, big, big difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's I'm a nerd. I like to prep. I'm prepared. I do all that stuff. But
I'm a nerd too.
yeah, right. We're all nerds, Yep. But and my little sister used to tell me, you need to accept your inner nerd. So I have. So I listened to her.
Embracing it.
But at the same time, I think as much as you can prepare and that sort of thing, it's also, I was an improv performer as well for a long time. It's also important to take all that preparation, because that like got it inside your body, right? But you take all that preparation, and then when you're in the room, in the moment, you put it all aside so you can be present, so you can listen. So you're not thinking of your next question. Like, don't do that. Like, I'll always know topics I want to talk about, but I'm not a question person. It's more about connecting and being present and listening. So if someone kind of opens up this amazing door down something that no one could have known about, you're present enough to follow them down out that door and shake off like all the things you prepared to talk about.
I'm so happy you said that, because I had a teachable moment, as Oprah would say. I interviewed the same social media influencer who has a huge following on social media. I interviewed him twice. The first time I was just going off of what the crowd was asking me to tell him and my prepared questions, and I regretted it. He came on the second time, and I said, I'm not going to look at those. I'm going to let it go. And it was so much better. And I just learned that lesson. So to hear it coming out of your mouth just validates that totally. Just be in the moment and let that conversation grow and go where it's going to go naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's where the beauty is. That's,
Right.
that's so follow that. Why would you not want to have that and get your question in? I mean, who cares about your questions? Like, it's good to have them, good to prepare, and then also just let it all go and let what is supposed to happen naturally, because that's going to be, I think, more interesting and more honest, and all the things that make for great entertainment, and also very important lessons to tell people important things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know we're getting down to this half hour when Chiacchia is going to be coming on. So I'm curious to hear a little bit about the Focus on Women committee, because that's my passion. So I know that it's changed a lot since you first started there. Like, it used to be, I think, just women directors, right? And then now it's broader. Do you feel like you've made an impact? I do. I feel like you've made an impact. I say thank you. But do you feel like you made an impact?
Oh, absolutely. Like, when I joined, the Focus on Women used to be a subcommittee of the Eastern Directors Council, and it was hand-picked, invited, only women directors. And I remember when I first found out about Focus on Women, I called the DGA and I'm like, hey, I want to join this committee. They were like, no, you got to be invited, which is so elitist,
Yeah.
So
my dad used to call that a false chair at the table. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We're giving you a chair at the table, but really we're not.
Exactly. And we even, to do what we wanted to do, the president of the Eastern Directors Council had to okay it. And we were like, we don't want anyone. We know what needs to happen. Anyway, long story short, with the pandemic and the subsequent diversity summit, the DGA Changing Diversity Summit in 2020, we were able to morph. We were able to grab this 12 directors only, hand-picked nonsense into an actual proper Eastern region committee for the DGA. So now we represent all women in all categories across the entire Eastern region, which is huge. The Eastern region goes from like Austin up, Atlanta, New Orleans, Atlanta, New York, of course, Toronto. It's the Eastern region is huge, and we work really hard to make sure that we're not just addressing director issues, because the Directors Guild is the powerful guild that it is because it's got directors, the whole AD team, the UPMs, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the entire directors team, which the director needs to do her job. So I'm very happy that we were able to transition from a subcommittee to an actual proper, elected leadership, everything committee.
It sounds
So,
like timing was pretty perfect when you came on board too, because everything was being addressed. People were saying it. They were like, "This is not right. We need change, women, equality, diversity, just the whole gamut, right?"
people of
So it was like
color.
a perfect time to join in there,
Yeah.
especially a powerful woman. You are amazing. I love it.
Thank you, Em.
I do.
Yes, and we have a viewer in Tasmania, Australia, and he wants to know if you could speak to some of your earlier improv work and how it perhaps informed your work now.
Hello from Tasmania. That's amazing. Anyway, so first of all, I think everyone should take an improv class. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care, because what improv, and I'm definitely behind camera talent. So the first improv class, this is funny. The first improv class I took, I hated it. I loathed it because you have to go up in front of the class and do your things and participate and whatever. So being the smart person I am, I would just figure out excuses why I couldn't go that day, blah, blah, blah. And then the teacher called me and he basically kicked me out of class. He's like, "You can't come back." And I'm like, I paid my $325 or whatever that was. And he was like, "Yeah, that doesn't matter because improv is about community and trust and all that kind of stuff." So he kicked me out. So years went by and he kept emailing me the next time he had like a, introduction to improv. And I finally went back. And I went back knowing they could kick me out. So I actually went to every class and I still hated it because I was so uncomfortable. It was outside my wheelhouse, outside my comfort zone. But I kept going. And it wasn't until I think level 3 where I finally started liking it. But it was life-changing because really what improv taught me, which I think it will teach anyone, whether you're a performer or not, is it's an exercise in being terrified, but you don't die. Right? Your body then learns.
Sounds exciting.
Like you're terrified, but like it's going to be okay. So you eventually learn that you can be terrified, but you're going to get through it. So then you can be more present, not so scared. You're going to still be scared, but it allowed me to just do what I needed to do in life. I'm not like I said, I'm not a professional performer in any way, shape, or form, but it allowed me to grow the confidence that no matter what shit is, can I swear? Sorry.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're allowed.
No matter what is hitting the fan, oops, it's going to be okay. And to stay present, because only when you're present can you pivot. Only when you're thinking can you know what's. If you're frozen, you're not thinking, and then you can't pivot as well, and then things go not as well as they could. But if you know that everything's going to be okay, and it will, it's a powerful thing to learn. That's why I think everyone, I don't care what you do with your life, take an improv class, and maybe more than one.
Yeah,
we actually have another person, Diane, and she that
does
part
improv.
of
Yeah,
Cosmos, and she tells us the same thing.
And to take it more than once. The first improv class I ever took was at Laughing Buddha, which is in New York City. It's of iconic. And the guy was doing, it was no character development really. He was just doing this thing where he would start something like name 5 of this or whatever. And I bombed it. I was so bad. I'm like, I think I'm terrible at improv. Then I took it again and we were doing more of the freeform yes and scenario work. Mm-hmm. And I was like nailing it, but I think it was the preparation from the class I hated that made me do better because of what you said, confidence, and then also what you were talking about with interviews, but staying present. And I think so much of entertainment and so much of the industry is about being present, which leads us into authenticity, which is also method and Stanislavski and all
Truth.
that, Adler.
Truth.
Yeah. And so since we're talking about all this stuff, this is the perfect segue because we have an actor here who's behind. She's been watching and I've been watching her in the green room. She's been engaging. So we got to bring up Olive Chiacchia. And here she is. You've been watching.
Everyone. Hi. Oh my gosh. This show has just been magic to watch as an actress. It's just been such a pleasure watching you. Thank you so much, Annetta, for everything you're sharing. And I'm so excited for this movie. Oh my goodness. Like, we should all have a watch party or something.
Oh,
Woo!
that'd be fun. Girls' night.
That would be fun.
We can like live stream it, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that
Wouldn't that be cool? Like in entertainment, it would be like imitation of life, like the mirror looking into the mirror, looking into the mirror.
Yeah.
But Olive Chiacchia, she's come into production in a very interesting path. She is an actress. But Olive, do you want to talk a little bit about how you became a producer when you are so passionate about being an actor?
Yeah. So I think it really comes back to presence. So I know that's something that we've all been talking about today, but I started acting maybe a couple of years ago, and I worked on a couple commercials with the director, and the director, after a couple commercials working with me, was like, I really want you to read the script. And I did. And I was like, oh man, I love this part. This is me. Like, this is who I am. And it was just so exciting. And I was cast, and then ended up working in this show called Group. And, this was kind of when this all started. It was like definitely a little towards like the beginning, and I'm still at the beginnings of my career. And then I asked about like cast and stuff, and I was like, so who's on the roster? Like, what's going on here? And then they're like, oh, so your boyfriend's going to be Aaron Carter. And I was like, oh, cool. And I didn't think it was like Aaron Carter, so I just
Aaron Carter.
Yeah,
Aaron Carter. If you could set that up a little bit for anyone, there might be someone under a rock who's never heard of Aaron Carter.
So Aaron Carter was like a child star from the early 2000s. His brother is Nick Carter, who was in the Backstreet Boys, and he did a lot of Broadway following that, and a little bit of film as well, and was kind of, his music career was taking off, and then I guess he was getting back into film. And just through, it seems like when I started with the project, it was kind of like a really small, like, oh, it'll be a fun pilot. I've done a couple, like, that'd be great. And it just kept growing and growing. And then all of a sudden, like, Mike Starr's in it, and Sam Levine from Freaks and Greeks. And this is this huge thing. And I was like, wow, it's so amazing to be a big part of this. And we filmed it back in October. And what unfortunately happened was the end of it was early November, Aaron Carter passed.
Oh, did you hear that, Annetta? Is it
I heard Aaron Carter pass.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm still on the air.
Yeah,
so
now you're still on the air. That was Aaron Carter's ghost, and I'm not making, that was interesting. Like, it literally cut out right when you said that. It was a little eerie for me. Start again with, you said Aaron Carter passed. We didn't hear anything after that. Can you hear us, Olive? Can you hear us? She cannot hear us, I don't think. But here, she's going to go out, and then she's going to come back in. So let's bring up Em and Jamie for a second as well. Okay, so she's gonna go out. I'm gonna text her and come back in. But I do know the story a little bit about what happened, and everybody knows about that story, that he passed away, and it was the last project that he was working on. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And then Olive will tell you, hopefully, if she comes back, she can talk about her journey into. And Annetta, you might want to weigh in on this a little bit too, because you've done more than one thing. This is an actress who is suddenly in a position where now she has this project in her hand, and she feels like she wants it to live on in memory of one of the stars of it. And now she's got to learn production. She's got to do all of that executive production behind the scenes and all that. Can you speak a little bit about that whole idea about in the industry having to, that metamorphosis where you're learning different skills and going on? Have you heard of that before? And you yourself having all these different talents?
Well, I think it's really, first of all, nothing you learn will be wasted. Nothing. Right. So if you're stuck in that job or whatever, that day, anything, nothing is wasted. You always learn something. Right. And learning what not to do sometimes is as valuable, if not more valuable, than learning what to do. So
Right.
always go in with an open heart and just gather information, gather. And then I think in terms of production and, learning how to be an EP and dealing with the network and the production company, because you've got three-headed monsters, or that's kind of what
exactly.
the business is. But I think it's really important to ask questions of people who've been there before. I think it's really important. It's really spending time in the water.
Right.
If you, and that's a surf. I used to surf, so that's a surfing thing. There's just things you can't read in a book. There's things you can't practice, not in the real world. But the time in the water is like the time that you are working and you're on that show and you're seeing this one thing and oh my God, what somebody did, and seeing this other thing, I'm like, oh, I would never do that, or whatever it is. So the idea, I think, is talking to as many people as possible to get as much information as you can, while being brave enough to do it, simultaneously on your own, and and also this goes back to improv too.
Right.
There are no mistakes, right? The mistake is thinking that the way you planned something is the way it's going to go. That's the mistake, because that's not necessarily true, and that's not necessarily bad. It's having the peace that you've overturned every stone, you've done everything that you can, so you're not the slacker, so you're doing everything that you can. And then if what you planned turns out different than what's happening, that's okay. Walk through that door. The universe is just open a different door for you that you and your, with your blinders on, couldn't see. And it might feel like it's not as good as what you wanted or not as good as what you planned, but it's kind of irrelevant because it is. So let's go down. Let's go in. When any door opens a crack for you, blow through it.
I read somewhere where you said, you told the story, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact quote, but somebody has to toss you the ball in order for you to hit it out of the park. Be ready. And it was the be ready that I actually wrote on a sticky note, and it's on my mirror. I said, be ready. And I just read it because that's powerful. That's amazing. That's fact.
I think that's
you
so
gotta
cool.
be ready.
You have to be ready. And this is it. Look what she did. She pivoted. She found just what Annetta was talking about. She was ready. She had another device ready to go. That's what we do. And this is live television, everybody. So,
woohoo!
So it was just a little brief break. It's no problem.
It was just a break. Yeah. So Annetta was talking about how you can, I don't know how much of that you were able to hear, but we were talking about how you are an actor and you're having to learn now being an EP and dealing with networks and pivoting. So talk us through that. The last thing you were talking about is Aaron Carter. He passed away. You're the lead in group, and take us from there.
So I think that what ended up happening, right, is we were working on starting to get the show packaged together and everything, and then he passed, which was devastating to us all because it was really a family. We all became so close, and it became clear to us that no matter what happens, we need to carry his voice forward. We need to sell this thing, and we need to continue the movement and stuff. And so Aaron was one of the producers on the show. I guess he was a really big part of who was going to work on selling it and bring it to networks and do all of that kind of stuff. And then, he died, and there were shoes to fill. And I mean, granted, I am a new actress from Hopedale, Massachusetts, Hopedale. But I was like, great, tell me what to do. Here I am, producer Olive, coming at you. So I was like, you know what? I am going to try and help. So I am now working with the team. I'm working with everybody. And because it's just one of those things where in this industry, sometimes you have to totally pivot, even if you're pivoting your role, because ultimately this show became a lot more than just a really awesome part for me. And I was so grateful. And it goes back to presence, like what you were saying earlier, because the director hired me. He was working on my house in Worcester, Massachusetts. Yep. And he recognized me from other commercials that we've worked on. So he was like, you know what? Yep, that was it. And now he's doing amazing things. He just signed it in the meeting. Oh my God. And I can't speak highly enough of that guy. It's funny. We're all redheads. So, you know, it's been definitely a journey because we are an like shamelessly independent pilot. Like this is not, and those don't always go anywhere. You must know that more than anybody, Annetta. But it's something where you can't really let the world or what other people say really get in your way or tell you that you can't do it, because I know it's possible and not stop until it's done. And I'm not, well, now I'm a producer, but you know what? It doesn't matter. There's a story to be told, and there's a doing it. It doesn't really matter. Like, you find yourself in the door for the person I'm not going to wait around and let maybe someday somebody will want me to act in their big thing. Someday I can, you know, do something else. So let me just give up on this and I'll try something. Because, like, I'm not the kind of actor and I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit around for my big break or something really awesome to happen. So
yeah, I remember too, and just so everybody knows, Olivia and I had taken a lot of acting classes with Michelle Danner, with her studio in LA. She's literally worked with everyone. I can't think of someone she hasn't worked with, and I remember Michelle telling us, as young actors, she said, "Look, you're not waiting for auditions. You're creating auditions. You are not sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. You're going to make whatever calls you need to do. You're going to build your own, you know, everything from the ground up." And her saying that really was like, this is not, you know, 40 years ago where you just sit around and wait. And I think that's really important. And I think for whatever reason, being a woman is even more important to really put yourself out there. And Annetta, you might want to weigh in on that as well. Being a woman, sometimes maybe having to, you know, you have to perform twice as well to get half as far, that kind of idea. I don't know if that resonates.
Sorry.
That was the best reaction ever.
I was like,
does
she
that
just
resonate?
Have you ever heard of this? Have you heard of?
So, does it resonate that, you know, we have to be twice as good to get half as far? Yeah, but we do. And instead of being like, wah wah, no, be twice as good. You know, be ready for when you get that one shot. You know, that one shot could be 20 years in the making. It doesn't mean, you know, you're sitting around la 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 waiting for it. No, you need to create it. You need to, I mean, the universe, I truly believe the universe responds to energy, like the way you think about yourself and what you do, you know, on the day that you have nothing booked, or you could do anything. You know, if you're always perfecting your craft, always working on your craft. I mean, what we do as actors or directors or, you know, hosts, and, you know, what everyone here on this on this does is we're creators of things. So be a creator every day. You're a director, direct. Use your phone. Use your cat. Use the people who are stuck inside with you, whatever it is, you know. And the same with acting, like, just, you know, act with your friends. Everyone's got a camera now. So, but yeah, like, sorry, I didn't mean to crack up so hard. I'm like, yeah, do I know what it's like to work twice as hard?
I'm gonna put that on TikTok. That's a TikTok clip. That's a TikTok. That's a TikTok because it's brilliant, and you'll see it. I'll send it to you. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I live it every single day. Come on, have you?
So
but
I have a question for you, Annetta, on that, because you are an adventurous woman. You like to bungee jump and skydiving and surfing and was there racing, sailboat racing, right? I can't remember all the rest, but is that like, I can't imagine you being afraid of anything. Like,
well, I'm a boundary pusher. I've been a boundary pusher since I was a kid. It's just in my DNA. You know,
I love
for good and for bad. So there's that. But I think I'm always afraid. I still do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrified. The very first time I jumped out of a plane, I was a student, and you'd been practicing, pulling your ripcord, and then you go out on a real plane where it's called static line, where you have to climb out on the wing and let go, but you're attached to the plane. So if you freeze and don't pull your ripcord, the falling pulls your ripcord, so it's safe. So anyway, very long way to put that. But so I remember the very first time I was out there on the wing, and the instructor's like giving me the thumbs up, like, let go. And I'm like, okay, nodding. And my hands wouldn't let go. I'm like, let go. My brain was like, let go. My hands wouldn't do it. And the instructor's like, thumbs up. Okay, now's the time. And it took, he was almost going to make me climb back into the plane, and it was going to be a non-starter because I couldn't let go.
Take you back to the ground.
Then finally, I made my hands let go, and everything was fine, and whatever. So I'm always afraid. Like, it's not lack of fear; it's the ability to still move forward when you're terrified, and you could get frozen. Don't keep going. There are no mistakes.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Olivia is dealing with at this very moment, because she's getting that improv ball tossed at her, and she's got to be terrified. Olivia, are you terrified? In a healthy way. Unmute. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm on mute. Oopsies. Yes. Okay. I mean, I'm always scared. I'm scared when I go on set. I'm scared a lot. Like, I completely resonate with what you were saying. And I'm scared when I, cold call Lindsay Lohan's agent. I just get a little scared, but I do it. I always do it because it's much better than not doing it. And to speak to the whole woman thing, I mean, I've had just in my few months of the other side of the camera, I've had some phone calls, and it's like the way people talk to me compared to the other people on the team, it's really, really eye-opening, and it's pretty scary. I'm really, really glad that there are these spaces for women to really unite and to really come together and kind of support each other through it, because despite even being an actress, this industry is still, and all industries really, really need more equality in all the aspects, definitely gender included. So, I just think you have to just keep going and, just keep meeting people and growing teams. I did 10 auditions in the last 2 days. I have to say, I'm very proud of myself. It's, there was 2 weeks I got nothing. And then I booked something today. I booked something yesterday. I had a callback the day before, and then 10 auditions out of nowhere. But you just have to keep going. If you're filming at midnight, then just film at midnight. It's just it's the life. You can't stop, and you can't let the fear stop you either. So.
Yeah, and you know what? That pulls me into group, because you were going to talk about group before we had some tech gremlins, but. Group is, if you want to talk a little bit about the premise and why Aaron Carter and so many people got behind that. And yes, there is a documentary coming out. Someone was mentioning about Aaron Carter, and Olive went up. Disney, you were up there and interviewed about that and different things, because this was Aaron Carter's last project. Why did Aaron believe so much in the message of group and using humor in a very respectful way to talk about some of the most really uncomfortable topics on the planet?
So just to give a little bit of a premise, Group is a sitcom, but it's funny. We're talking about the reality meets scripted. So it's reality meets scripted sitcom about friends that meet at an LA-based therapy group, and it follows their lives in navigating mental health and wellness and jobs and everything. And but instead of the basis being a traditional sitcom where it's the living room and the couch, it's group therapy. So Aaron was really, really invested in this because of the special there was just that balance of reality meets fiction that was kind of giving him and other celebrities an opportunity to share about their demons in a safe space. So Aaron, for example, worked with the director on what he wanted to share in the group setting, and what about his life he wanted to talk about playing a fictional version of himself. So kind of like how they do on Entourage or it just left me the show we were just talking about, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, Curb Your
So like, it's just
Enthusiasm.
that like fiction meets reality thing. And I think that the whole idea of just having a show based on mental health and kind of working through these issues, that it kind of brings a lot of awareness to the viewers, and it kind of encourages them also to get help and also to feel like validated by watching their favorite stars or just other people kind of going through these really deep struggles, and where all of the humor in group is really between like, you know, relationships and like classic sitcom humor, but like nothing is ever really funny. It's more of like a dramedy, because nothing's ever funny when we're talking about mental health. And like the director has like discussed openly how, like, you know, his struggles with mental health, and everybody on the team and everyone on the writing team, everyone had to have some sort of lived experience of themselves or somebody else, because they wanted to make sure that it was a really sensitive focus. And something also ironic about this whole situation is that I am a former therapist. So I got this like really special opportunity. I consulted a lot before. The director knew that, so I consulted quite a bit even before filming. So I guess I kind of started like consult producing before, but a little bit more shoes now. So it's just been a really interesting journey. But I think that everyone really got behind this message of just like the acceptance and like watching people heal. And I think that fine line of like reality and fiction is really hot right now too. And it's really cool to watch people be authentic on TV.
Yeah, and then coming out of quarantine, this was,
Right.
there was a decision, are you going to do like a quarantine premise show? And it's like, no, this is post-quarantine group togetherness. We're coming out of isolation, and these people are finding one another and helping each other through. And so I know that you loved Aaron deeply. You guys got along really well, and it's important to you on a creative and a personal level to make sure that this show honors him. He was so passionate about it. He wanted people to hear about this. It's so sad and tragic that he's not with us, but as a last project, this was as fitting as it gets. It was so positive. It was everything that he wanted to do with his life to make a positive impact. Is that something you're thinking about all the time when you're doing interviews about Aaron, when you're working on group and all of that? Is that one of the things that's really fueling you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that part of it is like, you know, he gave so much of his voice and so much of his power to this project. And like, he was the one that was going to go to the networks, and he was like going to shout it out. It was like his last Instagram live was actually about group before he passed, because he was so excited. And it's just become my personal mission. You know, he gave me so much. He gave me friendship. He gave so much professionally as well. And I owe it to him and to anybody else who has been in his shoes, you know, anyone else that's been a child star. We're trying to carry the direction of continuing with having a child star kind of in it, to really show the dark side of what that's like in a way that feels comfortable for them. So for show direction moving forward, we're really trying to make sure that even though Aaron can't be in it, his voice will always be honored.
That's really beautiful.
Really, really impactful.
Yeah, and the reel that the little snippet of the pilot that TMZ got and everyone else got and all that. It's this beautiful moment where you in character, you're afraid to let your boyfriend Aaron Carter know where you've been. You've been going to these group therapy meetings, and I'm getting teary eyed just remembering it. But he's so authentic in his acting, and he says, you know, you don't have to be ashamed. Like, this is so. I think it's cool that you're addressing your mental health, basically, which is for people who grew up idolizing him, all these girls with his poster and all this stuff. How awesome it is using your voice. You know, he was using his last breath literally to say, guys, don't be ashamed. If you respect me and my career, I'm not above getting therapy. I'm not above going to rehab. Like, that was the perfect clip to give to the media, because it's just really beautiful. And you did a beautiful job in that, as did he. He was a phenomenal actor.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
just
So
gorgeous.
real. He was very real. He had like a really, really, you could just tell he was been in the industry forever. He knew where his light was. Like he just knew. It was really, really an honor to be able to work with him. And yeah, there's actually going to be in a couple weeks. Actually, I think it's like 2 weeks now. A little portion of the pilot is going to be able to be viewed on the Aaron Carter documentary. They did a full segment on Group, where they interviewed
Excellent.
me
That's
and like
awesome.
my like random happenings of becoming a therapist and then becoming an actress and then producing kind of and acting in Group, and it's a whole like interesting cycle. But I think it really just speaks to how the universe will always give you what you need next. And Group is currently at the we're at the like let's hit the ground running, let's sell the thing. But it's it's the part where I think we need to believe the most. So I am remaining as present as I can to honor it the best I can. Yeah.
So in our final minute then, or minutes, there's so many people in the audience from all over the world just saying that this really resonates with them. The whole premise of the show is so beautiful. How can people support Group? What can people do? People like action items and all that. What should people do to try and get this thing out there?
Well, so we're currently trying to like build our team. We're building because we're down Aaron, so we need to build our team with essentially clout. So we are looking to bring on more people to bring this to the networks. So if anybody is interested or has connections with any networks or has any ideas or any, I don't know, wants to get involved, do you have an idea for it? Do you have a voice? I want to hear it all. I'm here for anything. So you could just email me. I would love to have a conversation about it. You never know who's going to connect who to what. You never know how this industry works, except you just have to always believe. And the people that make it are the ones that don't give up. Like, I always say that to like my friends who are,
That's for sure.
When you're at that place, when you're like, oh, my acting career is crap. And I'm like, your acting career will make it if you stick it out long enough. It will. And so will Group. So we got this for you, Aaron. So
I'm excited about Group.
Team
I am.
Team
Everybody
Aaron.
give Olive
I'll
a
put
round
my
of applause
email.
for Group.
You can DM me. You can email me. You can, however you want to get in touch with me. I will talk about Group all day with you. So. Okay.
Absolutely. And so you can follow, I'm going to put, this is Annetta's social media. If you can go and follow her. And then after that, I'm going to put on Olive. Yours is Olive Chiacchia everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to stay in touch with our guests. So anybody who wants to do that, just DM both of them. Annetta, does that work for you as well? Mm-hmm. Or
DM us.
Yes.
Yes, here I go. Okay, so there's that one, and then that little banner in there as well.
OLIVE. Sorry.
Oh, geez. You know what? This is what happens with live television again.
Hey, I took a siesta like 3 minutes into my segment, so.
Well, those are the tech gremlins, and
we embrace the tech gremlins.
Yeah.
Renee and I, we just embrace them.
We embrace them. We have a beautiful thing here for them.
Yeah.
You know, we have this. They're very cute, and they're generally pretty harmless. But so stay in touch. Everybody who's been passionate about, everything Annetta's working on, everything that Olivia's working on, just hit them up on social media, and also. Hopefully we'll see both of them again. They have an open, we have an open invite to either one of them. If they ever want to come back, we want hours with them.
Excited. Absolutely.
We have to watch the movie.
Thank you both.
Yes, we have to watch the movie. That's right.
Thank you, Renee and Em and Jamie. It's so nice to meet you, Olivia. This is awesome. Just so happy to be here.
What a great group. I love it.
It is honestly such an honor to be on with all of you and you. And oh my goodness, like
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Olive. We love you so much. So, and everybody in the viewers, there were more questions, by the way, that people had for both of our
I'll go
guests.
back and read them.
I'm so sorry, guys. We could have spent 3 hours with them.
Right?
Yes, definitely. But Olivia or Annetta, if you want to go back and check the comments, I'll send you links of how you can access them if you do want to answer anybody at all. So,
Yeah, thank you
thank
for that.
Awesome. So thank you both for being here, and thank you to our viewers. And we have Painting with Rory up next. So make sure you hang out. There's going to be some cool special guests and some trivia and all of that live, and some painting live on air. And you got to guess who he's going to be painting. We never know. We never know with Rory. So
It's a surprise.
it's always a
Oh my
surprise.
God, that sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's exciting.
Very competitive when it comes to the trivia.
She's very
I'm
competitive.
very competitive. Wait. Let me be honest. I'm competitive when it comes to everything.
She's
But
very, very
mostly
competitive.
with myself.
Which is the best person to be
That's why we
competitive.
love you, Em.
That's why we love you. Goodbye, everybody. We love everybody here. Thank